Hey everybody, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. Today Ron Haggerty put out a video that was the debut by 10 glam rock bands. I'm going to still call them hair metal. I don't think it's disrespectful. It's hair metal. Or how about this? I'll call them cock rock. So I decided to take that idea of debut albums, and I'm using the cock rock genre to do this possible thread. I will state it as a thread, and the rules are you can take any genre or any bands in different genres. I'm actually just taking the hair metal stuff right now because there was a bunch that I could think of right off the top of my head where you think their debut is better than everything else in their discography. So the rules are it has to be their debut album, and the band has to have at least 3 albums. So my first one is Black and Blue. Although I do really like Without Love, this album is just still the strongest for me. You know, this was their first album that I heard, but I still think it's the most I don't want to say honest, but it's the most solid album that they actually did, and even the song Action, which is a cover song, which is another thread that I'm gonna do soon too, but like Show Me the Night and Chains Around Heaven, what a great way to end an album. Yeah, Black and Blue debut is to me the best thing. Although on Without Love they have that song Strange Things that has the panning of the chorus section, which is really awesome. But this is way better. Brighton Rock, Young, Wild, and Free. This has the perfect combination of ballads and rockers and just amazing stuff. What's his name? Gerald McGee is at the top of his vocal game on this album. He is doing crazy stuff, and their albums after this didn't have the fire and the awesomeness that this album had. Some standout tracks on this are Change of Heart, Jack is Back, Rock and Roll Kid, We Came to Rock. Oh, just the title track. My friend Rob and I argue over what are the best things on this album. He likes the lighter stuff. I like a lot of the heavier stuff, but he thinks Breaking Down the Barricade is it's just called Barricade, was one of my favorite songs, or Assault Attack, and I had to correct him and say no, we kind of see eye to eye on everything except for the Rock and Roll Kid, because the way he sings the Rock and Roll Kid is so awesome. I cannot even get as screamy as he does, and I love his voice on this album. House of Lords, what a great debut. I think, let me see, who was in this? Greg Giuffria, Lanny Cordola, James Christian, Ken Mary, who's in Flotsam and Jetsam now, and Chuck Wright on bass. Oh man, this had, Pleasure Palace, Edge of Your Life. Looking for Strange is probably my favorite song on here. Just none of the albums after this really captured the lightning in the bottle that they had on this first album. It came out, luckily, in '88, before all the hair metal bands kind of got squeezed out of the public eye for grunge. And I believe they toured with Cheap Trick for this album, and I unfortunately missed that. I never saw House of Lords live. Um, but yeah, if you aren't familiar with this album, give it a shot, especially if you like bands like White Snake or um, White Snake. White. That's the first band that kind of comes to mind. White Snake or Jafria or maybe Vandenberg. I don't have any Vandenberg actually. I have talked about this so many times. Everything after this is just a law of diminishing returns. This album is 100% for me. Kick's debut album, just holy shit, this is good. And if you haven't listened to it since I've talked about it at least 3 times already on my videos, granted I have 80 videos, so you might have missed it. This is like the younger, fun brother of AC/DC, and this album, so good. I think this was part of my like 10 that you had to take if you had to get rid of everything else except for 10 albums. Yngwie J. Malmsteen, Rising Force. Holy crap. Not only did this have Jeff Scott Soto on the only 2 songs that have lyrics on it, but he blew everyone away, or at least I assume he blew everyone away, with his vocal ability. Some people kind of, like my brother, thought he kind of sounded a bit Dio-ish. I don't hear it really. But the instrumentals on this album are amazing, and everything he did after this, although Marching Out is a really great album, I think it goes on a little bit too long, and this one it was doing something that nobody in like metal and especially hair metal, and yes, I put Yngwie into the hair metal section, were doing. He just was breaking down that shredding barrier that nobody really had touched on, and kind of created a whole genre, or was the first really person to create a whole genre. I mean, I guess you could talk about like what's his name from the Scorpions? God, what is his name? One of the original guitarists. I can't remember what his name is now. But really, Yngwie was like the first of the shredders, or at least the first one to have like a record like this come out. If you have not heard this, oh my gosh. As Above, So Below, Now Your Ships Are Burned, Far Beyond the Sun, Black Star. There's a great video of him playing Black Star with Steve Vai on the internet. And it's awesome because Yngwie can't go off on tangents when he's playing harmonies with other guys. So it is the closest to the studio version you will ever get, and it is fantastic. Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. First of all, Nikki Sixx isn't playing bass on this album. There's no way he was playing bass on this album. He was not anywhere near being good enough to play the bass parts on this album. One day they will reveal who actually played the bass, but this album is awesome. Tommy Lee's drumming, Mick Mars' guitar playing. Mick Mars is so underrated. I cannot believe how underrated that guy is. And Vince Neil sounded pretty awesome on this. The songs were super tight and well written, and the bass parts were awesome. If you listen to Shout at the Devil, you'll go, what the hell happened to the good bass lines and stuff on Too Fast for Love? Now this guy's just riding the E string and maybe playing G every once in a while, or F. But yeah, this album, better than everything they ever did. RATT, Out of the Cellar. Invasion of Your Privacy was pretty decent, and I really did like the EP that they did, but this album is a perfect debut, and it is better, in my opinion, than anything they ever did. Yes, Round and Round did get overplayed, but that was the thing that brought us to RATT, you know. Uh, but the best song on here is Lack of Communication, especially the part where Juan Crocier sings, then you find your own way out, and you're all alone. I haven't sang today, so, but yeah, that's Juan Crocier singing. Just like on the EP, there was a song, I think it's You Think You're Tough, where he sings part of that too. So yeah, greatest thing they've ever done. DLR. Some people might go, ooh, wait. You're saying this is the best thing he's ever done? I think it's better than anything he did. Well, I think it's tied with Fair Warning by Van Halen, but as a debut album, this thing rocks my socks off. Not only does it have Yankee Rose, but it also it has Ladies Night in Buffalo, Going Crazy, Elephant Gun. Big Trouble is so great. I love that song. And Steve Vai's guitar playing on this album is phenomenal. Just, yeah. The only thing that I would get rid of on this album is the cover of That's Life. And for some reason, my CD, yep, my CD is scratched. You can see it right there. Where is it? Right there. So when it gets to That's Life, it doesn't even want to play it. It's like the CD is protecting my ears from having to hear that song. But this is better than anything out of his whole and complete discography. Stryper, Soldiers Under Command. Yes, they did Yellow and Black Attack, but that was considered an EP, I guess. And Soldiers Under Command, this was the first band I ever saw live, and I saw them on this tour at, I think it was the Jesus People Church in Minnesota. Now it's called the State Theater. I had third row tickets. Everybody rushed up to the barrier when they started playing, and my friend Sam and I sat on the front row seats. It was so great. They were so good, and they played just about everything out of their discography that night, if not everything. And I know Ron said something about their ballads, but the song First Love on this, especially when he comes in vocally after the guitar solo, is so phenomenal. I love singing along with that part. But yeah, this is one hell of a debut. Soldiers in Command. And I saw that somebody was making fun of this cover. That cover is awesome. They are soldiers under God's command. That's fucking tits. And last but not least, Wasp's first album. Tell me what album is better than this. Some people might say Headless Children. Nuh-uh. Headless Children did not have I Want to Be Somebody. It did not have School Days, which honestly is probably one of the weaker tracks on here, but I love when he uses the cowbell when he's like, a school bell is ringing hell and I just like to see it blaze. Oh, that song is awesome. And then Sleeping in the Fire. What an awesome ballady, power ballad, or whatever you want to call it. And this version is awesome because you get Show No Mercy and Animal added to it. So those are my 10 debuts that I think are better than everything else. If you want to reply with a thread response video, that would be awesome. But you don't have to. But remember, if you do, The bands have to have at least 3 albums, and the debut has to be, in your opinion, the best thing they ever did. Take it easy.